From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network and Troy campuses around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Weekly.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Weekly. We're glad you joined us for this look at what's happening in and around Troy University. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Well, on Tuesday, Alabamians went to the polls to have their say in who America will be voting for this November. Although primary voting is nothing new, this year the earlier date of Alabama's primary has given it some greater importance. Jordan Elston takes a look.
Alabama residents hit the polls Tuesday to place their ballots in the Alabama presidential primary election.
I've voted every election since I was old enough to vote, and I think this time it's very important for everyone to vote. There's a lot on stake.
Oh, I always vote. It's no less I was in a bed, a hospital, but it's just it's my duty as a citizen.
This is the first year that Alabama has been a part of what is known as the SEC presidential primary, and many people believe that this earlier voting date will help Alabamians' voices to be heard.
I'm glad it's early because the earlier I think we can get everything decided early, and then we can find out what the candidates are what they really stand for.
I feel like it'll make a difference because the earlier that we vote, we'll have a better chance to elect our candidate for the year. By us voting earlier, to give us a chance to get our vote in as well.
Troy University Assistant Professor of Political Science Michael Slobodchikoff says that the earlier voting time makes Alabama a competitive state.
Well, it's important because it gives Alabama more of a voice in the early stages, and it makes Alabama competitive. The later you have the primary elections, the less competitive the state is, and so the less attention candidates pay it. And so we already saw, for example, Ben Carson was here yesterday. We've had Ted Cruz come through, Donald Trump come through. We've had others. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton have both been in Alabama campaigning. So it's an important chance for candidates to speak to people, to hear what they have to say, to listen to their concerns, and to actually make voices really heard in Alabama.
If you have not yet cast your ballot, the polls will be open until 7 p.m. Jordan Elston, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Every year, Troy University highlights individuals who have succeeded despite physical or mental limitations at the annual Helen Keller Lecture. This year, the school welcomed a world-renowned jazz musician. Sarah Singletary has the details.
Acclaimed jazz pianist and Steinway artist Marcus Roberts gave the keynote address for Troy University's 21st annual Helen Keller Lecture Tuesday morning. The lecture is designed to highlight individuals that excel in their chosen fields despite having a physical and/or mental limitation. Robert shares his thoughts on being chosen as this year's keynote speaker.
I'm grateful that they asked me to do it, and I'm hoping it'll bring more attention and focus on the issues that confront the people who struggle every day with these conditions.
By utilizing both his lecture and performance opportunities, Roberts hopes to share some family advice with the audience.
Well, the biggest thing I want people to get from it is that we have to, as my mom used to always say, we have to use adversity as a stepping stone to success. And so I want people to understand that we all have issues, not just folks with disabilities, but those of us in this community who've dealt with that most of our lives, we have solutions that are relevant not just to us, but like I say, it can serve as inspiration for folks no matter what their life situation may be.
The lecture also spotlighted Robert's music, which he believes is a part of his message.
The sound of the music, the way that it's played, the rhythms of it, I think it can connect us in ways that sometimes word and regular rhetoric doesn't quite accomplish. So I'm hoping that when people hear it, they'll get it just from hopefully the sincerity of it and the clarity of what I'm expressing through the music.
The 22nd annual Helen Keller Lecture will be held in spring of 2017. Sarah Singletary, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Well, Roberts spoke at the Helen Keller Lecture, but it wasn't until Tuesday night that Roberts got to really share his musical talent with Troy. Latasha Sims has the story from his concert in Long Hall.
Jazz pianist Marcus Roberts shared his incredible talent with Troy University for the 21st annual Helen Keller Lecture, where he gave a brief concert and left people with many different feelings.
It's kind of scary seeing a guy who has come so far, even though he is, in old age, but seeing him never losing that drive and, continuously striving to get better at his instrument is really like a motivation for me as a player, because these things aren't easy at all. It takes years of practice, hours upon hours every day to get to just that level. So it's pretty reassuring and it's definitely motivating.
Marcus Roberts performed many songs at his concert, leaving the crowd speechless and also wanting more. Students who are musicians themselves saw his talent and was very inspired.
It's really good because that's ultimately one of those high-level achievement goals that a lot of musicians will have. We work a lot to, some of us work for our whole lives and never quite get to that level, but he's already there. It's something to work and aspire to be.
Robert's love of music began at a young age. By the age of 10, he began his formal musical training. Though all of his performances meant something to him, his last song was dedicated to his mother. Latasha Sims, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Troy's Rosa Parks Museum is a place to learn about the history of the civil rights movement. But thanks to a donation, there will now be a hands-on way to experience what life was like during that era. Christy Henderson has the details from a Montgomery News Bureau.
On Monday morning, Troy University's Rosa Parks Museum received a large donation of more than 500 historic African American magazines dating all the way back to the 1950s and 60s on the university's Montgomery campus. Only a small portion was on display, but it gave guests an idea of how Black media perceived the news.
These magazines were carefully kept for many decades. The rare collection, appraised at over $7,000, documents the social, political, and cultural aspects of Black life in America during the modern civil rights movement. The majority of the collection is comprised of Jet magazines.
Now in 2016, Jet and other magazines that are similar to it have been completely converted to digital in this new age. But Bell says that it will always stay a trusted news source to Black Americans.
The content of Jet magazine included everything from news, pop culture, fashion, beauty, and special investigation reports. Although it is available in a digital archive now, these early printed editions are a treasure and give us a peek into the not-so-distant past.
These magazines aren't just for serious historians, but also for elementary to college-level students who are interested in learning about Black media during segregation.
It'll probably give them an idea of how information and how it has changed over time, of what things are reported and how things are reported. But I think for more serious researchers and historians, it'll give them substantive information on how these events were covered by the Black press.
In the next few weeks, the museum will receive all of the 500 magazines and is open for the community to study. In Montgomery, Christy Henderson, Troy, TrojanVision News.
An artist considered one of China's 10 major art masters had her work on display in Troy this week. Devereaux Bogart gives us a look at her exhibit.
Troy University's Confucius Institute's latest guest is world-renowned artist Qin Bailan. Bailan has been featured in exhibits in more than 50 countries and in 2005 was named one of China's 10 major art masters.
Troy University has a long history, and also it has hosted artists like me from many different parts. So they have been committed to the communication between different cultures and the arts. So that is why I wanted to be here.
Bailan's art went on exhibition at the Johnson Center for the Arts March 1st, and on March 2nd, Bailan lectured on her art, Chinese history, and provided painting workshops showcasing her techniques and how she creates her artwork. Bailan encourages Troy University's students to come out and see her portrayal of Chinese art.
I would say welcome them all to come to my exhibition, and also I encourage them to learn something about Chinese culture and Chinese painting because it's a very special kind.
If you look at Bailan's paintings, you might notice all of them have something in common. They feature a noble or prominent woman in Chinese culture, an effort that she hopes will inspire future generations of women.
My painting actually falls into a very special kind of Chinese painting that is called the noble lady's portrait. And that kind of painting usually uses noble ladies as the subject.
The exhibition will be moved to Troy University's Confucius Institute until Thursday afternoon for viewing. Deborah Bogart, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Most high school students have a counseling support system in place to prepare them for making a choice for college, but that isn't necessarily the case for homeschooled students. Last week, Troy University tried to make that transition a little easier. Sherry Kotzum explains.
The transition from high school to college can be difficult for anyone, especially if you're homeschooled. For the first time ever, Troy University hosted a homeschool day to give homeschool students a chance to get to know campus and connect with each other.
Homeschool Day is an opportunity for students to come and visit this campus, get the traditional college experience. They're going on a campus tour, they're joining us in the dining hall for lunch to get that experience along with other current students. This is the first time we've done something like this, and so we wanted to provide an atmosphere to where these students felt comfortable coming with other homeschool students and their families, and really more like a family day to where they can experience Troy from a prospective student's eyes.
Students are able to learn about everything the university has to offer, including talking to current Troy students who were once homeschooled themselves about the transition from the couch to the classroom.
Transition isn't easy for anybody just because it is such a big cultural and the shock of social and education is so much different from high school.
And even though the event was intended for homeschool students, it also helped put some of the parents' fears at ease.
I'm really excited, especially after your homeschool panel and meeting students where my daughter needed to hear that, that they are normal. Fears were big at first, but they were able to overcome them just like in a co-op setting. It's the same thing as walking from co-op and from your home. Now you're going to a college. And the fact that they're hands-on with professors. If you see a weakness, they said the professors are so approachable. So that made me excited. I need my daughter to hear that.
Sherry Kotzum, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
We're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll see how students playing with their food is helping feed the hungry. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
This is Dr. Daniel Smith. He's an expert in domestic and international economics. But his proudest achievement is connecting with his students and helping them accomplish more than they ever thought possible. That's the warrior spirit, and it's alive and well at Troy University. Feel it at troy.edu/spirit.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
Last Saturday, area runners laced up their sneakers as a way to help prevent bullying. Jenna Jajon explains how.
The third annual Bully-Proof 5K took place Saturday morning in downtown Troy. The Department of Counseling at Troy University and East Central Mental Health partnered with Pike County and Troy City Public Schools to sponsor the run as part of the bullying awareness campaign.
It's the Bully-Proof campaign, and it's the third year going. It's an annual event that we have started to raise awareness about bullying and measures we can take against bullying in our community, in our schools, not only on Troy's campus, but in Pike County and Troy City schools.
The campaign raises awareness and also provides information on how to handle bullying situations.
Our main thing is to bring awareness to the community and to help the children learn, and as well as the families, what they can do to stop the bullying and what happens if they are bullying, what they can do to, what events they need to take care of as far as going to tell teachers, going to tell other parents and things like that.
While raising awareness is one of the main reasons for the event, it's not the only benefit. The funds raised from this 5K are going to the cause as well.
We actually have a nice reserve built where we're actually going to meet with the assistant superintendent of the Pike County schools, some of the key players as principals in Pike County, as well as the assistant superintendent in Troy City schools, to figure out how the best way we can serve and use the funds that we've raised to raise anti-bullying curriculum awareness within the schools.
The Bully Proof 5K focuses on Pike County and the Troy community, but events like this end up having a much broader impact.
These events bring awareness to situations that aren't always in the forefront of your mind, but it can really affect people in negative ways. So if we can keep that from happening, the world will be a better place.
A better place indeed. Jenna Jajon, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Many Trojan sports have already finished their spring training, but last Friday, faculty, staff, and students at Troy University got their own dose of spring training thanks to the Safe Zone for All learning program. Christy Henderson has that story.
For most students, going to college is not only the best time of their life, but also a time to learn about who they are as a person. On Friday, Safe Zone for All held a spring training session to inform and educate the faculty and staff about providing a bias-free environment to students.
Today we were talking about radical inclusion, spirituality, racism, and the LGBTQIA2S spectrum. What it is like we prepare them for issues like our international students who are away from home. There's cultural issues there that we may not understand. What we're doing is trying to help them understand.
This is the second year of Safe Zone for All at Troy University and is the only Safe Zone for All at any of the other Troy campuses. However, Dr. Patrick Faircloth says that Troy, being the only university to provide Safe Zone, is soon to change.
We're one of the first schools in the country that's doing Safe Zone for all students. And right now, we've been doing it here at Troy, and we're now in negotiations and plans and scheduling a date for the Montgomery campus. And then our long-range plans are then to go to Dothan and Phoenix City.
After completing the spring training session, faculty and staff will receive stickers showing that they are qualified to speak with students about any crisis or situation that they may be encountering.
Once this training is over with, they'll receive a sticker that goes on their door. These students that may be in crisis or just having a hard time can see these stickers. They know that's a safe place for them to go to get help, and they can get the help they need.
Faircloth says that later in the year, Safe Zone for All plans on having a community training for all locals interested in participating. Christy Henderson, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
There are a variety of ways Troy students help fight hunger in the area, such as the Campus Kitchens program. But twice a year, Troy students get to have a little fun with the food they collect and create a castle construction. Casey Garvin explains.
You hear a lot about everyday superheroes. Usually the phrase refers to firefighters or police officers or doctors. Wednesday, however, the superheroes were the fraternity brothers and sorority sisters here at Troy. For Greek Week, participating organizations collected canned and packaged food to donate to those in need, building castles, forts, and superhero logos. Judges in superhero outfits picked out the best and the biggest sculptures, and as you can see,
the results are really stacking up.
Well, we have come together here at Greek Week, and we are providing meals or cans for the hungry. We're donating these cans to the Salvation Army, and the theme for this year is fighting hunger. And so we have built our hunger headquarters. We've built our walls up, and so that we can defend the hungry. And we have an emblem, and it's a shield with the H in the middle, just representing that we are just fighting this cause and trying to defend the hungry.
It's to help the backpack program that they have, like all the cans and all the like lunch food items that we have, like they put them in a backpack and send them to like kids that don't have the right means to for them to survive over the weekend. This is our we did a triangle for Delta. We're actually the Delta chapter of Kappa Delta, so it kind of fits in good with us. But we put the Superman logo on it since the whole theme is superheroes, and we put a T in the middle for Troy. Our philanthropy is PCAA, so Prevent Child Abuse America, so this really hits home for us because we love to help kids in need, and so we just really think that this is something that we can help the kids of Pike County to be able to have a little bit better experience.
In total, the contest raised 4,635 cans to help feed the hungry. Casey Garvin, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Troy's Johnson Center for the Arts is known for bringing works of art from around the world to be seen in the city of Troy. However, their latest exhibit features an artist whose work is all about returning home to Alabama. Deidre Green has the story.
Friday night, painter Mike Howard and photographer Jerry Siegel debuted their pair exhibit that showcased their different takes on their home state of Alabama. Both artists explained what inspired them to take this journey back home.
My mother's hometown. They were farmers. My grandfather, her dad, could not read and write, and she had a 5th grade education. So that's where I came from, here, so I'm proud of that.
Noticed as I've gotten older and come back home how connected I am to the Black Belt and Selma and the region in general. And so I'm constantly going back because it's where I'm from, it's what I know, it's where I feel the best.
Siegel expressed why he doesn't have a favorite piece in the exhibit, but they all have a special place in his heart.
I'm not sure if there's a favorite piece in the exhibit. I probably wouldn't put them in the show if I didn't feel good about what I'd done, but the ones that probably resonate with me do so for different reasons. Some of the images I like because I feel like they were successes. It's something I was trying to accomplish. So for different reasons, I guess they're like children. They all have a spot for different reasons.
Howard also spoke briefly about his upcoming collaboration with the Rosa Parks Museum.
Rosa Parks, we went around, I loved everything. The woman was so impressive that was running the museum. We got along great, and so we're going to do a show now, and I'm going to paint something just for her.
Howard's A Journey Home and Siegel's Responding to Home in the Heart of Alabama will be on display through April 9th at the Johnson Center for the Arts. Deidre Green, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Well, it's time for our last break. When we return, we'll find out why a group of Troy fraternity brothers are walking to Panama City this spring break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I was afraid of that.
Well, guess it's time to get you fixed.
Your pets will start fooling around sooner than you think.
Go on, get out of here!
Accidental litters lead to millions killed in shelters each year. Help prevent more. Fix at month 4.
This is Thomas. During the day, he works in research. And at night, he's a warrior. Soon he'll have a degree from Troy University, a historic and affordable public university with flexible online and in-class courses, and professors who know their students by name. Do what you love and be great at it. That's the warrior spirit. Learn more at troy.edu/workingwarrior.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
This spring break, 31 Troy University students are going to make the trip to Panama City on foot. We'll learn about this year's Walk Hard in this week's Trojan Talk. Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Today we'll be talking about Walk Hard, a fundraising effort by the Brothers of Alpha Tau Omega here at Troy University. And my guest today, Sam Moody, one of the brothers. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
And Walk Hard, it has become probably one of the more famous fundraisers here on campus because it's gotten a lot of regional and national publicity over the past few years. But for folks out there who are unfamiliar with what Walk Hard is all about, tell us a little bit about it, because it's a trip to the Panama City, but it's not the typical trip that a college kid does during
Right.
spring break. So
Yes,
tell us
sir.
a little about it.
So as you said, it's a walk down to Panama City Beach during our spring break. We leave the Friday that spring break starts. But instead of taking cars, we're on our own 2 feet for 128.3 miles over 6 days, and this is just to raise awareness and support for wounded warriors. So,
and now you talk about the walking part, and you walk every step of that path there. It's got to be kind of, I guess, got to get yourself mentally prepared for something like that.
Absolutely. It's, as I said, 6 days. First day is 28.2, so it's actually 2 more miles than a marathon is, with a rucksack on your back. And just your own 2 feet, like you said, definitely a mental preparation. But I think it helps knowing who we're supporting. The way we kind of see it is 6 days of pushing our bodies to our limit to try and come close to saying thank you for the service that the men and women of of our military have served.
Well, let's get into some more detail specifically about what it is that's going. You mentioned there it's for wounded warriors,
right.
but talk specifically, because you're keeping this kind of local this
Right.
year with what
Right.
you're raising money for.
Right. Initially, we started out with the Wounded Warrior Project. But after doing some research and seeing where that money was allocated, we thought it was best to try and stay local. And we've found Jeep Sullivan's Outdoor Adventures based out of Bonifay, Florida. And what he does, Jeep, along with his team, take donations. They're a nonprofit, and they take their donations and take wounded military service men and women on hunting trips, fishing trips, just getting them back outdoors, getting a gun in their hand again, and to try to get them back to a level of normalcy.
So get the opportunity to help out locally,
right?
And not far from where y'all are going to be walking to.
Right.
So
we actually pass through Bonifay.
So you're going to get the chance to walk through that area. So maybe
Yes,
get a
sir.
little support from them while you're walking
Absolutely.
through there. But speaking of support, let's talk a little about how the folks out there can support, because this is a fundraising effort,
Right.
as you mentioned, and talk about how people can, because there are a variety of different ways that people can help out.
Right. So obviously we have just donations that we get from family and friends of the individual walkers. So if that's the route people are looking, not a business, just as an individual, they can go to our GoFundMe page. We have a GoFundMe account set up that they can donate to that. If businesses or other corporations, say around the city of Troy or just around the Wiregrass area, want to donate, they can do so by contacting Dash Merritt. He has a page set up online as well, our Facebook page, Alpha Tau Omega Walk Card, and we can get, we have a donation just application that we can send out to them via email or just a mailing address.
And that's for companies that want to do some sponsorship potentially, or make a larger donation. And we talk about donations. Y'all have had some pretty impressive donations over the last couple of years. Last year, how much did you guys raise during this?
Last year we raised just over $10,000. We were around the $10,000 to $12,000 range. Our goal right now is to exceed $20,000, and we think that that's very doable. So we're hoping to reach that.
And of course, the popularity of the event has increased over the years, and you guys have gotten some national publicity from this as well. Especially the idea of a bunch of college kids going to spring break by walking there, giving up your spring break by helping out people in need. And let's talk exactly about how many of you are going, because this is a pretty impressive number. How many of you guys are actually walking down there?
Yes, sir. So last year we had 19 walkers start and finish the walk, and so that was an incredible number. This year, with the increased popularity and just the morale of what people seeing how admirable it was, a lot of guys wanted in, and so we've increased our number to 32. We actually, as I mentioned before, we had to have interviews for some of our guys to see where their heart was in the process, just to make sure we had guys to do it for years to come. So we're at 32 this year. So
you actually had to turn some brothers away because
yes,
you had too many people who wanted to help out. That's got to make you feel good in doing something like this, that you've got so much support within the fraternity.
Right, and I think that this is something that hits home with every individual, be it your family member or a friend or someone who has served, who has been wounded or even killed in action. So I think it pulls at the heartstrings of a lot of individuals, and just the patriotism that a lot of individuals have to want to give back to our nation's servicemen and women.
Now, you're going to start the trip on the Friday before
May
spring
4th,
break,
or March 4th.
March 4th.
Yes, sir.
And then when do you expect to end up? If anybody wants to cheer you on at the end route, anybody that's there for spring break, when do y'all expect to be in Panama City, and where?
Well, the last day of the walk is 16 miles, so we'll be just outside of the city limit of Panama City. We'll be heading over the bridge. I want to say we'll be entering, I think that's March 9th. Wednesday, March 9th, around 3 or 4 is probably when we're expected. We'll hit the main strip, and then we'll go into Pier Park and walk all the way through. We'll have a police escort, helicopter flyover, and we'll be walking all the way to the beach.
To the beach and jumping in the water,
and celebrating, getting some salt in those wounds a little bit, but enjoying ourselves nonetheless and being proud of what we did. So.
All right. Well, good luck with this year's walk, and here's hoping that folks out there will help contribute to the cause and maybe cheer along while they're going down to spring break this year. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk. And that's what happened on the first week of March 2016. To find out what's happening throughout the week, you can tune in to Troy TrojanVision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30, Monday through Friday. We hope you join us again next week for another edition of Troy TrojanVision Weekly. Have a good week.